Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you clicking on my video, being interested in what I got going on. This is a super feel-good video all across the board. Makes my heart super warm. So I hope you'll enjoy it as well. So as you may know, I have had this video series or my playlist called What's in That Tote. And that's where I've gone through my, storage totes of finished projects or forgotten things, whatever. And a lot of it was stuff that I had made and taken to a craft fair, otherwise known vendor event, tried to sell my wares, and nobody bought it. And so it comes back and back and forth and back and forth. So I decided I was done with this a few weeks ago. I called up a rescue mission here in my county and found that they would accept the donations of blankets and hats and scarves and gloves and stuff. And I looked into doing doing some sort of a donation thing with another company, and they said, no, our process is that we supply you with the yarn and we tell you what patterns and what size blankets to make, and then you're on our team of crocheters or whatever. And that's not what my need was. My need was, I have all these things that are already finished. What can I do with them? So I took him to this mission, and it was a very, very feel-good situation. The woman at the door opened, welcomed me with open arms and was very appreciative. There were two of them that just kind of giggled and, started opening the totes a little bit, looking at stuff, trying on gloves. It was a lot of fun. Every crocheter, every fiber artist wants to see that type of reaction when people are touching or seeing your things for the first time. So that felt amazing. And she was really excited to, it is starting to get a little bit warmer, but there's still some cold nights. Girlfriend, let me tell you, I froze my patootie off last night and needed an extra blanket on my bed. So it's not over yet, right? She took me into the head office to introduce me to the manager or whatever, the lady that runs the place. And I just asked, if they had certain needs, to please contact me, that, I've got time and energy to create things that I want to be needed. So if I can crochet in the right direction based on what your needs might be, then please let me know. So that was a great 20-minute span of dropping that off and just feeling good in my heart, feeling good that my things are going to be appreciated and gone to good use, and so forth. So there were a few things that I decided not to give away yet, or to donate. Some things that were really kind of close to my heart. And the point that I wanted to bring up is that a lot of these things that are, things that I kept were things that I made and shared a video with you guys. So now you all are part of my memory lane. When I see these things, those snippets of time in my life flood back, the emotion, just like any of the other blankets that you make, that you've, fall in love with that time frame or whatever was happening at that moment that makes your heart feel good. So I'm excited now that, I have a new chapter of What's in That Tote that includes all of you guys, because these are things that I've shared with you in previous videos or made with you in previous videos. So I thought I'd go ahead and share those with you today. And in a What's in That Tote, I don't know how many of these, like if this is not going to be a new series because it's just this one time. So maybe in a year or so when I do another donation, I might say, what do I have left? So one of the most touching to my heart things that I made was my rainbow blanket, and with my clouds on the edges. And I know somebody asked me for a tutorial on that, and I haven't gotten around to it. And that's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions, even though we're a few months into the year already, is to really, I'm a little, this has been more successful than I ever dreamed it could be. And I thought that I would read a comment and retain information about that comment or that request or that question and go with it. And I've not been able to do that. I've got way too much going on. You guys are way too interactive for me to remember just off the top of my head, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to start taking better notes about comments that are left when things are requested, like the border for this. So thank you for sticking with me through all my learning process of how to present videos to you guys. So this was one that I just absolutely loved, that I kept, and I don't know that I will ever give this one away. The next one is my wheat sheaf. This was the first one that I decided to do a tutorial where I was just kind of putting something together, you know. It wasn't really a pattern for the blanket per se. And so for me to put it together the way that I did was just one of my faves. So I know it's the same yarn as my rainbow blanket, but that's, you know me, I love my rainbows. So what else do we have? This was a really recent one. You guys just saw me make this out of a video for the Mandela tweed stripes where I got 3 hats out of one, and I decided I had to keep this one. So because I just thought that was so cute. And in addition to that is one that I did out of the book. I think it was called The Open, I don't remember. Maybe I'll put it here on the video, or yeah, on the screen if I'll remember to find it. But it was out of my stitch book, and one of y'all had made one as well. And so I thought, you know what? You pointed that out, so I made one, and I love it. So I kept that one as well. I kept this one. This is Bloom yarn. Just a plain old simple hat that I made recently, or you know, last winter sometime, and my granddaughter loves it when I leave it sitting out and she'll put it on as she walks by. Hat. And so I thought I couldn't give that one away. I had to keep that one. And then the other ones that I kept were all ones that I had put a pom-pom onto at my last vendor event. I thought, you know, maybe when I get my stuff together and get an Etsy page up or some sort of an online selling situation, I'll put these up, because these are a little bit more specific with the pom hats. Some are for little girls, smaller girls, I should say, teens. Some of these with I love this yarn. It's so pretty. And then this one. So I kept all of those. Things that I thought, you know, when you sell online, when people are searching for something, there has to be that word that they're searching for that you can put into your product for them to search and find. For example, you can't just put flower hat. Who's looking for a flower hat? You know what I mean? But pom hats, people are looking specifically for pom-pom hats. So maybe those are things that can be more easily found. This one is still so very, very close to my heart. This one is a pattern. I made this after discovering Melanie Ham passed away. And this is one of her very basic, easy patterns on her YouTube channel. And this yarn, I always thought it reminded me of a sock monkey. So although I can't remember what the name of the colorway is, I just always called it my sock monkey yarn. It is Karen Cakes. And I just love it. Here, let me hold it closer. It's just a very simple shell stitch. Just shells on top of shells. But for a beginner, it's just absolutely fantastic. And you can just go with it. I love it. So Melanie Ham was very dear, very, very dear to the YouTube community world and fiber arts, and she passed away very young, and it's very sad. So that was one, and then I've got one more here. Again, things that I either were very sentimental to me, very special to me when I was making them, or things that maybe I could sell, you know, by listing it specifically by what it is a little bit easier to search. All my bags, you know, I worked so hard to line these. I couldn't just give them away yet. Maybe after another round of trying to sell them and not selling them, they might go in a donation bin. But I have, I went through a bag phase, I guess. And this was the Japanese knot one that Crystal did. But then, yeah, before my, I had when was that? Was it in December? Was it in November? I did a vendor fair. I didn't sell very much of my things. Worked very, very hard and decided it was done. You just saw this one recently because I did my tricolor square tutorial. It's a blue. They're blues and yellows. Some people were saying that it looked a little more purple. I guess it just depends on your lighting and so forth. This was one that I just loved. It's called Lipstick on Your Collar by Bernat Pop. The colorway is. And Bernat Pop is kind of how should I say that politically correct? more often than not, my Bernat Pops had bleed throughs like this. So I always thought, man, it just doesn't look professional. But if you like it, if it's cutesy enough, I don't know. I like the little flower. This one I made a really long time ago. Whoops. I thought this was really, really cute. A little bit smaller. Hey, come on. My straps are twisted. There we go. And lined that guy. That was a little bit more challenging. It wasn't just straight across. So, and then this, I was going to make C2C bedspread and decided that it was too much. So I just made a matching square and made it into a bag. That was one of the first ones I made, I think, a long time ago. And then this with that big twist yarn that it goes super thick. The maroon and the green and the purple are super thick. And then the orangey and the white are a little bit thinner. So I think that was a fail on the company. But the colorways are very interesting and I would never have put them together. But I really like that bag. And I've made a couple of blankets that did get donated that were of that. This is one of my most favorites of all time because I made it with Big Twist, the older discontinued Big Twist, which I love. You guys know me. This is my fave. I would marry it. And I made a button out of just, you know, a ring and a little loop. So this one I absolutely love. I tried to sell it before. I had it lined and a woman picked it up and was going to buy it and then realized it wasn't lined and said, "Oh, sorry," and put it down and walked away. And I was crushed. So ever since lining it, I've decided maybe I do want to keep it. I don't know, but it's just still in my stuff. This one I kept because I called this my Every Stitch cowl. I designed it. Designed, whatever. I decided I didn't have a pattern to go by. I just did some chains and then did some double crochet, chain one, skip one, and then did some V's and then did some crossovers. So I just kind of made it up as I went. And, you know, as long as you're using stitches that all are like a multiple of 2 or something like that, then you can really do whatever you want. So I thought this was awesome and it's super long. And I just had to keep it because it wasn't really from a pattern. Like I just kind of made it up as I went. So that was exciting to me. That means something. It's not necessarily that I think aesthetically that this is perfect or whatever, but it was a stage for me. It was a mile marker for me. Like I had never just made something and not been following a pattern. So that was exciting for me. This was the Arabella scarf or cowl that I made. That was the very first that I love. It's super thick, super thick, but the colorways were just, I think this was called Blue Cinnamon, maybe something like that. It was just fantastic. So I kept that one. And then later on I was kind of down in the dumps and I remember how happy that one made me. So I made another one. What was this colorway called? I don't remember now. It's so pretty, all these blues and greens. Look at that, how pretty. And so this one was a little bit wider. I decided not to make this one as wide and then go longer with it. So depending on how you like to wear them, they may go in a, you know, donation bin at one point, but that one was still very, those were both still very near and dear to my heart to keep. So the other things that I kept were these 2 scarves. This one I made a little bit more recently out of, where is it? This Mary Maxim yarn here, this super soft, and made it with these little baubles that I didn't expect. I don't know if you saw that video. What I saw in the book, I got the pattern or the stitch out of my stitch book, and what I saw looked more flat like this, and then come to find out, like, that's the bauble, or that's the back side actually, but it kind of looks like a bauble. So you can wear whichever side you like out, and I thought the colorway went well and the pattern went well for man or woman. So I enjoy making those things that don't look super girly or super dude like. And then I really enjoyed making this because when I bought the yarn, I didn't know what the heck I was going to do with it. I don't know if you remember seeing that unboxing. This was one that when I got it out of the box, it looked so teeny tiny. I didn't expect it to be this small. It is 147 yards though, so it is quite long. It's a size 1 of merino wool. Whoops, almost dropped it. And there's actually, it's kind of hard to tell. There are like 2 dark grays and 2 light grays involved. And so I did this great little stitch out of my book as well. And it was quite tedious. I mean, it wasn't difficult to do, but because of the specific fillet spacing, whatever that's called, you know, to put in there, you really had to count right and make sure you were where you were supposed to be. So that's a little bit more tedious, and you got to focus a little bit more. So it took me a little while to make it, and I thought, I don't know if I'm ready to just toss that into a donation basket either. So I kept that one. And then the last thing, this may end up going in a basket as well, but I mean a donation as well. But I made some little head, what are they called? Like a little scarfy thing. We were out to dinner, and the waitress for another table, she wasn't even our waitress, was wearing one almost these exact same colors. And I about lost my mind from across the restaurant. So I had to go over and ask her if I could really take a look at it. And so I studied it kind of close and saw what she had done, or what it was. She didn't even make it. Somebody else made it for her. And so I came home and had to make one because I had all these colors on hand already. And but again, folks, this was one where I do not like to sew in all those ends. And so you'll very rarely see me color change every round like that. So this is a little bit tedious to make, but I really enjoy them. And I wasn't necessarily ready to just toss it in the bucket. I mean, the donation. This is one that was supposed to be a scarf. No, a shawl. And I decided that it's this teeny tiny fingering yarn. I didn't have the patience for it. So I just stopped it at this point and tied little strings on it so that it can also be a little hat scarf thing. Hat scarf. What's it called? I don't know what it's called. I don't remember off the top of my head. Look how cute. Ta-da! Yay! I do still have a couple of things over here. I hadn't had anything. Let me show you. So both of my racks have been empty for a little while since Christmas, since before Christmas, when I was moving everything out to try to make some space in here for the tree. So top left here is my mom's blanket that she did and didn't finish, was unfinished when she passed away. So I finished that. This one is one that I made for my dad when he went into a living facility. And this one is Red Heart Ogo. And there was a QR code on the skein on the Ogo of yarn, and so I clicked on it, and it told me I would need 6 of those to make that. So I bought 6 to make it and didn't realize it was a stitch that I really didn't care for. So that one's been near and dear to my heart to keep. This other one here is one that also my mom had kept, had started and didn't finish, but all the colors were in the same bag together. So I just finished out the yarn and tied off and finished the blanket. This is Ice Cream Brand. Is it called Ice Cream Brand? Oh, I just had a brain freeze. I'll have to put that in the screen. But this one is great. It's using 2 strands at the same time. And I just love how it gives that marbling effect. It's a size 3 yarn. So it was very time consuming. This one I made for the grandchild that I did not yet have. And it's a little wonky at the bottom. You can see the edges are not quite right. But it took me a lot of time. And although she had other ones to use, because this one was in a tote I had forgotten about until way after she was born. So that one never really, you know, got used at all. So I just put it out because I think it's pretty. And then this was the other blanket rack that I kept. These are giant hexagons that made with, I love this. No, Just Yarn from the dollar store that I kept for a long, long time. And then the blue and the pink here were my mom's yarns, and so I put those all together on a big blanket. And then this is one that I made a long time ago that I just love, 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 and I can't see myself not owning that blanket anymore, so I'm going to keep that one. This is another one that was a favorite both in the pattern and in the yarn. It is Karen Big Cakes, and Hooked by Robin does this pattern that I absolutely adore. And then this is the last one that I kept that is a chunky yarn, and it's done with a stitch that does 2 double crochets at the same time. So this long stitch is all completed in one row. So the blanket grows like crazy fast. And that was the last one that I kept. Alrighty guys, I appreciate you sitting with me to go through those totes with me. And again, thank you for creating the memories, being part of those memories that I have when I look at these items now. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Please come back and see me again. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.